Good morning. I'm Catherine Ross with TheStreet here with Jim Cramer. How are you?
Good to see you yesterday. Good to see you here.
So I want to start off with the markets. I mean, we opened up and the Dow immediately went up 230 points.
Well, what's the Dow? The Dow is made up of some Action Alerts names, right? It's J&J, which was a magnificent quarter with tremendous double-digit growth in pharma overseas. Wow. United Health, once again, it boosted forecast rather radically. The medical loss ratio incredibly low. Optum doing fantastic. Away from, and then Goldman Sachs, the stock has been down 50 straight points. It was very close to book value, which Goldman is literally the cash on hand, which is kind of embarrassing. Goldman's bought back a lot of stock. They should try to buy back as much as they can. They've been a favorite second half stock after the C-Car review. And then Walmart initially down because people just really, it's so disheartening. I was speaking to someone who said, Jim, Walmart's down on the news of the comp stores being better. And I said, well, that's just not right. That's wrong. And it turned out to be it was the Flipkart investment, so then the stock reverses. I want to emphasize that same-store sales are what Eddie Lampert didn't get. We did a really good stock of the day yesterday with JC Penney. What you have to recognize is that Eddie was telling everyone when he started that same-store sales was not the metric. Same-store sales is always the metric. I was criticized today on Twitter for some twit that says, how much did Cramer lose this on Sears? Well, I caught a six-bagger on that one. And anyone who wants to know where the phrase booyah came, it was from someone in my New Orleans radio affiliate who said, when I get a stock like that, I say booyah. And that's where it started. So the disheartened critic should just realize that the reason why that everyone said booyah was all the money they made on Kmart and Sears. And then I did I overstay? It went from 170 down to 120. I had the six-bagger. Should I have quit at 170? Absolutely, but you can't really call the top. But we had a major home run for people, and I'm very proud of that home run. So it can be belittled like a lot of things that I do, but this one I feel particular umbrage because it's where booyah came from. If someone's so happy they create the term booyah, I'm not going to sit there and take it from a Twitterite that says, how did you burn me in Sears? There never would have been a booyah if it weren't for Sears.
Well, we have one thing to thank Sears for, and that's the booyah.
Yes, that's about it. I do think it's a shame. I don't know whether Eddie's going to be examined for what he did. I was looking at the Seritage list, and it's pretty good. But it's just going to help a lot of other retailers. Now, initially it doesn't. We know that. But it's good. But those are the ones that people are clustered around. So these are natural leaders. And then last night, Adobe. When Adobe guided to 20%, that was it, because that's a cloud king. And the cloud kings all trade together. And I suggest, and we'll say it on the Action Alerts Core. Remember, we do have a club call this week. Every month we get more and more people subscribing. What I would point out is this. Adobe is related to Salesforce, which is related to ServiceNow, which is related to Workday, which is related to this cohort, including Red Hat, and Splunk, one of my absolute favorites, at the teach-in this weekend. We had a fellow who was really saying Splunk is the teaching was so great. Now, we are putting snippets of the teaching. I'm trying to get us to put the teaching up and just wall it off a little, but because it was so good. And one of the things that was really clear was that the cloud kings are going to stay, and it's a shame, but my favorite one would be VMware if it weren't being crunched down by, conceivably crunched down by Dell. I don't know if it will be, but VMware is really fabulous. Salesforce is what we're buying.
And the other thing that we talked about a lot at the teach-in was cannabis.
Yeah.
And that's something that's still on your mind. In your Real Money column.
Thank you. In my Real Money column, I said, listen, if you haven't done it, don't do it. And those stocks were all up big, and then we spoke a little negative about them on Squawk on the Street, really reiterating what I said in my Real Money piece. So if you read the Real Money piece and you got out at the high, congratulations. We are at a perilous moment for these stocks because it's suddenly that people are saying, wow, I can't believe it, Canada's legalizing. People have been buying these stocks for months, so now you got to wait. And that's okay, you missed it, all right? You missed it. There will be lines tomorrow in Canada, and there might be a second wind to be able to get out if you're not in. But when you're done with these, as I said in the Real Money article, which I really urge you to trial and get, their Constellation is going to be good, and Canopy will be good. And we have a good tape today. We're due. The oscillator I follow, the S&P, was -7. You must put money to work at -7. There's only 2 or 3 times where -7 on this oscillator was wrong. Since 1989, when I used the oscillator. So I I started, my ex-wife started using it in 87, Karen. So I just say, look, you got to understand, the oscillator is in control, and the stocks went down, there's too much selling pressure. So they have a right to bounce, and with UNH and J&J and Goldman leading, that's good. Goldman is the one that is down the most. J&J, we've been buying all the way down. And, what can I say, UNH may be the best stock on the big board.
I had a really interesting Twitter question come into my inbox, and it's from Brian, and he's wondering whether or not we're going to see as many buybacks if we go into a bear market.
Okay, I can make a compelling case that we've been in a bear market for the last 4 weeks. You have so many stocks in bear market territory. The lower taxes produce a huge amount of cash, and the answer is that there's going to be no bear market. There will be bear sectors. And the fact that the Fed wants to raise is indicative of what happened with Granger today. There's going to be two economies, the one that the Fed is going to crater, and then there's the cloud kings, the drug stocks, and they will do well. I question, the one I'm most tepid on is Goldman. I think that historically, tomorrow is the day that Goldman opens the sell window. The sell window opens for a couple days. If you haven't bought Goldman, I'll talk about this on the Action Alerts call, it's going to go down when they open the window because the partners sell.
Real quick, Netflix earnings tonight. Eric Jhonsa is going to be running a live blog.
The stock is down very big. There's a couple of notes which just say that these long-dated assets are ready to roll. Netflix was a favorite of mine for a very, very long time. And then after it cost it got bigger than Disney, I switched my focus and said buy Disney. Disney is still the way to play it. I do think Netflix is a great company, and I really like Reed Hastings. He's been on the show. But Netflix is my least favorite FANG, if only because it is the most expensive.
Thank you so much for your insight on FANG and cannabis, and we're going to be talking a lot more about that on the Action Alerts Plus call, which is happening right after this.
Remember the club call, we're going to have the 10 stocks that are down that you should buy, and we're going to flesh out the bullpen. It's going to be very stock related because I think that right now we've got the Fed versus the stocks.
And that call will be on Thursday at 11:30 a.m.?
Yep.
All right. I'm Catherine Ross with TheStreet here with Jim Cramer. Thanks, guys.